In a significant diplomatic move, French President Emmanuel Macron announced that 26 nations have formally committed to providing post-war security guarantees to Ukraine. This pledge, emerging from a summit in Paris, outlines a reassurance force that would be deployed to prevent any new major aggression from Russia once a peace agreement is reached. While the specific details, including the number of troops and individual contributions, are still being finalized, the announcement represents a major step forward for a coalition of the willing that has been working on this plan for months. The United States' role, particularly its willingness to provide a backstop of support, remains a crucial and active part of the discussions. Reasons and consequences. The primary reason for this initiative is to provide Ukraine with a credible deterrent against future Russian aggression, should a peace deal be reached. Without such a guarantee, Ukraine would be left vulnerable and potentially pressured into ceding territory with no assurance of lasting peace. The framework aims to be a robust alternative to NATO membership, which is currently a non-starter for Russia. By creating a multi-layered security framework, the coalition hopes to offer Ukraine the confidence needed to engage in meaningful negotiations, while simultaneously signaling to Russia that any future attacks would be met with a decisive international response. The consequences of this announcement are far-reaching and complex. On one hand, it strengthens Ukraine's position and demonstrates a long-term commitment from its allies. It moves beyond simply providing military aid and toward a more durable, strategic vision for European security. On the other hand, the announcement has been met with immediate and strong condemnation from Russia. President Vladimir Putin has warned that any Western forces deployed to Ukraine would be considered legitimate targets for the Russian military. This hostile reaction highlights the risk of escalation and a deepening of the security divide between Russia and the West. It also presents a challenge to any potential peace talks, as the presence of foreign troops is a non-negotiable point for the Kremlin. Furthermore, the reliance on a coalition rather than a formal treaty organization like NATO presents a potential for fragmentation and a lack of unified command, which could be a source of weakness. Prediction. The path forward for this initiative will likely be fraught with challenges. The most significant hurdles will be the finalization of the United States' role and the practical implementation of the reassurance force. President Trump's position, which has been less overtly supportive of direct military involvement and more focused on economic pressure, will be a critical factor. The coalition's success hinges on a clear and unambiguous American commitment, likely in the form of air support, intelligence sharing, and a robust sanctions regime. I predict that while the 26 nations will continue to draft and plan, the final, enforceable version of the security guarantees will be directly influenced by the outcome of these ongoing talks with Washington. Moreover, Russia's aggressive rhetoric is unlikely to subside. Instead, Moscow will likely intensify its propaganda efforts, framing the proposed force as a direct act of aggression and a violation of its security interests. The implementation of the force will become a central issue in any future peace talks, potentially leading to prolonged diplomatic gridlock. Solutions. For this security framework to be effective and lead to a lasting peace, several key solutions must be pursued. 1. Unified command and clear mandate. The coalition of 26 nations must establish a clear and unified command structure. This would ensure rapid decision-making and a coordinated response in the event of renewed aggression. A detailed mandate outlining the rules of engagement and the specific functions of the force is essential to prevent ambiguity and miscalculation. 2. Multilateral diplomacy. While the reassurance force is a military tool, it must be accompanied by a robust diplomatic strategy. This includes continued engagement with non-aligned nations and a clear public messaging campaign to counter Russian narratives. The goal should be to build a broad international consensus that the force is defensive and aimed at deterring future conflict, not at engaging in war with Russia. 3. Economic sanctions and reconstruction. The security guarantees must be linked to a long-term economic strategy. This involves not only maintaining and intensifying sanctions on Russia to incentivize a genuine end to the conflict, but also committing to a large-scale, coordinated reconstruction effort in Ukraine. A prosperous and stable Ukraine is an essential component of long-term security. 4. Strengthening Ukraine's internal defenses. The reassurance force is not a replacement for a strong Ukrainian military. The coalition must continue to provide military training and equipment to enable Ukraine to rebuild and modernize its armed forces. The goal is to create a steel porcupine that is capable of defending itself, with the international force acting as a powerful deterrent and a final line of defense.